Meise von Rabagun, a Tzaddik, Rabbi Cheskel Shrago Mishinov, the son of the sons of Rab Chaim of Sons. He was makpit in Halacha and Shulchan Aruch very much. And if he saw any minik by his father or by any other tzaddik that was not al pi Shulchan Aruch, he would make sure that they know that he is opposed to it. He used to say b'derech halotzo, Ein roe, oizen shumas, v'chol ma'asecho ba'sefer nichtovim. When you go to a Rebbe, Ein roe, look what he does. Learn from things that he does. Oizen shumas, listen to the torahs that the Rebbe says, to the hadrochos that the Rebbe says. V'chol ma'asecho ba'sefer nichtovim. But you may only do things that says in Shulchan Aruch, in Sefer. If you see something that the Rebbe does that is not a pi Shulchan Aruch, that's Oiroas Sho, that's his hadrocho for his own derech, but not for the tzibur. B'chol ma'asecho ba'sefer nichtovim. In the Beis HaMedrash of Rav Tzaddik Rab Yitzchok Miskverer, there was a Sefer Torah mekubal from the Baal Shem Tov. A small Sefer Torah, Kemedoimeli, is a Sefer Torah that is today in the base midrash of the Machnofke Rebbe in Bnei Brak. That Sefer Torah was used very seldom. It was taken out in special occasions. For example, Yom Tov, or if a tzaddik, a mefursam, came to visit the Beis HaMedrash, they were mechabed with an aliyah in that Sefer Torah. When the Shina Berov came to the Beis HaMedrash of Rabbi Yitzchok Skverer, there was a big dilemma. Should they take out the Sefer Torah from the Baal Shem Tov, the small Sefer Torah, and they should be mechabed the Shina Berov, or they should stay away from Sveikes? The Shina Berov might find a psul, and the Sefer Torah will become not useful. And there were dilemmas back and forth until they decided they have to take the Sefer Torah, because if they will not take the Sefer Torah, it will be a bezoyim for Rabbi Cheskel Shrago from Shinaver. But they would tell the Shina Berov they should please not see to pass the Sefer Torah. And he was oile to the Sefer Torah, and by the aliyah, at the beginning of the parsha, he saw that there was a psul in the Sefer Torah, but not stam a psul mitchilas aksiva. And he said, I'm sorry, the Sefer Torah is possible, and you cannot lean on it. And he would refuse to make a broch on the Sefer Torah. Everyone in the Beis Medrash was very edgy. Ubefrad Rabbi Yitzchok Skverer, I told you not to passel the Sefer Torah. And the Shina Berov said, I did not passel it. The Shulchan Aruch did. And there was no breira. With Agmas Nefesh, they took out a different Sefer Torah, and they put the gartel around this small Sefer Torah from Baal Shem Tov, and they switched the Sporim and the lane. After Shabbos, Rabbi Yitzchok Skverer, before Rabbi Cheskel Shrago from Shinev left, asked him Abba Kosher. He told him he's not well, he's an eltere mensch, and he has big agmas nefesh what happened Shabbos. Ubefrat to be matel mum in the Sefer Torah, saying all the kriyas till now were not good from us, from the tzaddikim, from the Baal Shem Tov. Do me a favor, Shina Berov, and be mevarer, and see if you can find a heter to be matel the Sefer Torah lemafreya. Shina Berov said, I'll try, but according to what he sees now, the Sefer Torah is not kosher, and the Sefer Torah was never kosher. Shina Berov, Gei Gesinterheit and be mevarer, and please send me as soon as possible a reply with a telegram whether you were matzliach to be mevarer the halacha. And kachave, every day the Skverer Rebbe would ask the Gaboim if any telegram came, any respond from the Shina Berov came. Weeks later they got a telegram. Yes, the Shina Berov sent a telegram, and he was mevarer, and he has charotov on his psak, and the Sefer Torah was kosher, and the Skverer Rebbe was very happy. But since he was an older person and he was very sick, that day he was nifter b'seiva toiva. This story I heard from Rav Agun, Rav Ushe Zelko Rand, Zichroinu Devrocho, after I showed him a bitter that is very hard today, Bizman Hazeh, to pass la Sefer Torah even if you find a psul gomor. And he told me the story and says, we don't have a ksav or a bitter what Rabbi Cheskel Shrago from Shinev said. But we know Rabbi Cheskel Shrago from Shinev was matir, and could be that this bitter that I see in front of me is what he meant. Now we're going to go to the bitter. Rambam Hilchas Sefer Torah Perek Yud Halacha Aleph. Esrim Devorim Hein, there are 20 things Shebechol Echad Mehem Poisel Sefer Torah, that each one of them makes the Sefer Torah not kosher. Ve'im Nase Bo Echad Mehem, if any of these psulim were made in Sefer Torah, Aryeh Hu Kechumash Min HaChumoshim Shemelamdim Bohem HaTinoikos, is like a sefer that you teach the Tinoikos in it. Ve'ein boi kedusha Sefer Torah. Doesn't have a kedusha of a Sefer Torah. Ve'ein koidem boi berabim. And you do not read it in Beis Midrash. Beluhen. If you used a oir of a behema which is not kosher to eat. Beis. Nichtav al oir behema tehoira she'eno me'ubot. If it's done on a oir behema tehoira but is not worked out the skin, or was me'ubat but not l'shem Sefer Torah, or it was written on the wrong side of the gevil. If it's gevil, you may not write it b'mokum basar. If it's klaf, you may not write it b'mokum seir. Or the Sefer Torah was written with a mixture, part of it on gevil and part of it on klaf. Or it was written on duchsustus, or it was written without sirtut lines, or it was written with the wrong type of ink. Has to be black and has to be oimet. That stands. Or if it's written in different language, or it was written by an apikoides, or different psulim from the koisev, or if it was written the shemus without ksiva lishma, or if it was missing one letter, or he had extra letters, or the letters are touching to each other, or the letter lost its tzura, or he split one word into two words, or two words look like one word, or he changed the tzuras aparshis, psuchas, and stumas, or he was mishane the tzuras ashira, or the other ksav he wrote like ashira, or he was toy for the yiriyah without gidei behemot tehoira. All these 20 things are me'akev, and anything else is only a mitzvah min hamovcher, not leikuva. The Rambam passes a Sefer Torah that's missing one letter, even if it has an extra letter, that Sefer Torah is not kosher and has no kedusha Sefer Torah whatsoever. What's the mekor from this Rambam? The mekor from them is a mama from Rab Shimon Bar Yochai that is brought down in Shas twice. Once in Masechta Baba Basra in the first perek, and one in Masechta Menachos in the third perek. Baba Basra is Daf Tez Vav Omed Aleph, in Menachos Daf Lamed Omed Aleph. Omer Rabbi Shimon, Efshar Sefer Torah chosar ois achas and should be kosher? Behoksiv lo koyach es Sefer HaTorah hazeh. I'm taking the entire Sefer Torah. The Vorim Lamed Aleph. You see from here that Rab Shimon Bar Yochai says very clearly, a Sefer Torah chosar ois achas is the Sefer Torah apostle. Efshar Sefer Torah chosar ois achas, it's impossible to be kosher. The reason for that is the same Rabbi Shimon Bar Yochai is masbir in the Sefer HaZohar HaKudosh, Parshas Achrei, Daf Ein Aleph Omed Aleph. It says over there, a Sefer Torah that is chosar ois achas is considered a Sefer Torah pogum. Umeshaker bishmo kadisho is meshaker in the shame from the Ribono Shel Olam. And the reason for this, we have a hesber in the Hakdomo to the Torah from the Ramban that is masbir that the Sefer Torah is actually tzirufei oisios and shemoisov shel HaKodosh Baruch Hu, and actually has many meanings if you switch the letters. By missing one letter, the whole tziruf could change the shem from HaKodosh Baruch Hu. And the Loshem HaZoyer, Chelek Beis, Daf Kuf Chov Dalet Omed Aleph, or Chelek Gimel, Daf Reish Tzadik Ches Omed Beis, Man de ishtadel be'oraiso, keman de ishtadel be'shmo kadisho. Whoever learns Torah is like he's learning the Ribono Shel Olam's name. The Tnan, we learned, oraiso, the Torah, kulo shmo de kutshabricho. The entire Torah is the Ribono Shel Olam's name. So that's the reason why the Rambam paskins that a Sefer Torah missing one letter or having an extra letter has no kedusha. And the mekor from this is the Zohar, like it's Musbar in the Ramban, and Rab Shimon Bar Yochai in Masechta Baba Basra and Menachos, the same mechaber from the Zohar HaKudosh. So the Shittas Rambam is very clear: a Sefer Torah missing a letter or extra letter, it's possible and has no kedusha. The problem is that the Rambam himself in his Tshuvas Pe'er Hador Tshuvates, he is made that minig hageoinim v'rabonei zemanoi to be koire in a Sefer Torah apostle and afilo in chumoshim and with brocha if there is no kosher Sefer Torah. So why the Rambam in the Tshuvas is matir and in the Yad HaChazoko he is machmir? Be'emes, the Rashba is the one who asks this Stiras Rambam. And the Rashba wants to taine that nearly that what he wrote Beyalduso, he was choizer beziknusoi. The Pe'er Hador he wrote Beyaldusoi, and the Yad HaChazoko he wrote Beziknusoi. Beyalduso he was matir, Beziknuso he was choizer, and he was machmir. The Beis Yosef in Yordeo Simen Reisha and Tez brings this Rashba, and he brings Beshem the Kolboy, that he brings Beshem the Geoine Narvoino, like the Chuvas Rambam, to be Matir. But the Rosh in Chuva Gimel Simen Ches writes that the Sefer Torah that has a psul is posul legambri, and all the kriyas that they lane in that Sefer Torah is not a kriya, and all the brachos that they made in that Sefer Torah are not valid. So we have over here two shitas. The shitas Rambam in the Peir Ador is matir to lane in a Sefer Torah which has a psul if he has no other Sefer Torah. The shitas Rambam in the Yata Chazoko and the shitas Rosh that the Sefer Torah is posul, and all the kriyas that they made in that Sefer Torah are not oil. The Beis Yosef brings down a pshorah between these two shittas. B'shem his Rebbe HaGodol, his Rabbo Muvik, Rabbi Yaakov Beirav, Mahari Beirav Zichroni Levrocho, that he was manhig a pshorah. If you find a psul, you don't continue laning from here on, but whatever was lane till now is kosher. Not only that, you don't have to lane 7 kriyas from the new Sefer Torah. Whatever was lane in the first Sefer Torah is oile to the kriyas HaTorah. So, if you lane till Shishi in the Apostle Sefer Torah, and just now you found that there's a psul in that Sefer Torah, you stop. You take a second Sefer Torah and you lane Shvi on the second Sefer Torah. And it's masbir that the Stilas Rambam is very simple. In the Tshuva is matir for Kriyas HaTorah. In the Yad HaChazoko, he's talking about mitzvahs asay to write a Sefer Torah lechol echod meYisrael has to be 100% kosher Sefer Torah. The Beis Yosef ends off bekach onu noihagin achrof. That he's noig like his Rebbe Mahari Beirav. But that's very hard to understand, because the Rambam says meferish that has no kedusha Sefer Torah ve'ein koirim boy betzibur. So how can the Mahari Beirav and the Beis Yosef learn pshat in the Rambam that the Sefer Torah is kosher for kriya but not kosher for ksiva? Says meferish in the Rambam that is not kosher for kriya. Be'emes we have another kasha. How can bechlal we lane today in a Sefer Torah? The Gemara says in Kedushin, Daf Lamed Amud Aleph, that we are not boki in chaseiros and yeseiros. Gemara says like this: Vav de gochen tzorech liyos be'emtzo haTorah. The middle letter of the Sefer Torah is the Vav de gochen, and the Chasam Sofer brings from the Aflo that the taich is that if you count from base of Bereshis till the Vav of Gochen, you'll find the same amount of letters than from the Vav of Gochen to the Lamed of Le'ene Kol Yisrael. And the Vav of Gochen is exactly in the center of the Sefer Torah. The Gemara asks Akashe, Mehai Giso or Mehai Giso? Is the Vav de Gochen to the Bereshis side or to the Devarim side? Which is mashma, since you have a Mispar Shove, you have an even number, so the center letter cannot be in the center. It has to be in one side, or then to the right side, or to the left side. And the Gemara says, we don't know. So why can't you take a Sefer Torah and count? The Gemara says, Anan lebekim bechaseres veyiseros. Counting will not help the situation. And who is the one who says, Anan lebekim bechaseres veyiseros? Rabbi Yosef. Rabbi Yosef was boki in Mesoira. But when it came to chaseres veyiseros, the Gemara says he was not boki. So the Rashba in Kedushin, in Kohev Sarishonim, bring down that if Bizman Rabbi Yosef there was no bekiyas on chaseres veyiseros, Manoimar anan abasrayu. What can we say after them? Definitely we are not boki in chaseres veyiseros bizman hazeh. That's what the Rashba says. And the Sharesh and Shuvas Shagas Aryeh Simen Lamed Vov wants to use this Rashba hoisofa to the shita to hold that bizman hazeh there is no mitzvah of ksiva Sefer Torah. We know that the Rosh says that bizman hazeh the mitzvahs Ksiva Sefer Torah is with Sforim, to write Sforim, Kol Min Sforim, Gemoras, Chuvas. So the Shagas Aryeh says, we Memon of Shach have to be somech on the Shitos HaRosh, because the Rashba brings down, we are not Boki in Chaseres veYiseros, so how can we be Mekai in the mitzvahs Ksiva Sefer Torah? Intrinsically, the Chasam Sofer in his Chuvas, Simen Nun Beis and Simen Nun Dalet bring down that there's a Shita in Chazal that there is a mitzvah to make a brocha on Ksiva Sefer Torah. When you write Sefer Torah, you make a brocha. He says that Bizman Hazeh, we do not make the brocha. And the reason for is because of Tshuvas HaRashba. And like the Shagas Aryeh says, Bizman Hazeh, we're not boki in Chosev Yatir. And for that, Asofik brochos lehokel, we do not make a brocha in Ksiva Sefer Torah. The Loshon Ho'ogur is Ba'avoinoiseinu Horabim in Sefer Torah Bizman Hazeh she'ein bo to'us. There is no Sefer Torah without a to'us. What happens if we find a to'us be'emtza kriyas HaTorah? We just said, according to the Rosh and according to the Rambam in the Yad HaChazoko, you have to take out the Sefer Torah. You cannot read in the Sefer Torah that it has a psul. But in Bnei Yoino, the Sefer writes on Divrei Bnei Yoino, the word of Divrei Elokim Chaim, Bnei Yoino writes that if you find a to'us in the middle of the kriyas HaTorah, you are not allowed to take this Sefer Torah away and take a different Sefer Torah for two reasons. First of all, you have a Pegama Sefer, which is a bizoim for the Sefer Torah. And second of all, you have a Tircha de Tzibura. You're not allowed to be Matriach de Tzibur for nothing. So you see that the Bnei Yoinot holds that taking a Sefer Torah for a toes and switch it for the different Sefer Torah is a Isser. And that is very difficult to understand because we just said B'Shem the Rosh and the Tshuvas HaRishonim and the Tur and the Bis Yosef, like the Shitas Yad HaChazoko, that you're not allowed to learn in the Sefer Torah that has a psul. If the Darkei Moshe from the Ramo makes a pshura, some psulim you're allowed to learn weiter, and some psulim you are mechuyev to take a different Sefer Torah. For example, if you find a psul in Choseres veYeseres, you are allowed to learn weiter. If you find a psul Gomor, that the Sefer Torah is missing a word, you're not allowed to learn weiter. And the base menucho is masbir this Darkei Moshe. What is the difference between a Chosev Yatir or a psul Gomor? We just said B'Shem the Zohar HaKodosh that even a Chosev Yatir is a psul because you don't have the tziruf of Shem Hashem. And this is the lotion of the Zohar HaKodosh in Vayikro, Parshas Achri Mois Kedoshim, Daf Ein Aleph Omet Aleph. Rab Cheskio and Rab Yasa were going by Gush Chalav, that was Choruf. They sat down next to the Beis HaKvoros. Rab Yasa had in his hand a chelik of a Sefer Torah that was Nikra, a Sefer Torah. And all of a sudden they hear from the Beis HaKvoros, from one of the Kvorim, a sound screaming, Vai, Vai! Rab Cheskio and Rab Yasa got very scared and he asked the mace, Man at, who are you? He told them, I am a neshama. And once they brought us Sefer Torah over here to the Beis HaKvoros to be mispalel for rain. And that Sefer Torah had a psul. There was an extra vav in the word shoisaas shesa prosois. Shoisaas is written without a vav, and that Sefer Torah had an extra vav inside. Even though it's not me'akev the kriya, but posul have umeshaker bishmo de malko. And because they brought us Sefer Torah to this Beis HaKvoros to be mispalel, they took the neshama of the nifter and they did not let him in Gan Eden together with the ruchos of the tzaddikim until Rabbi Amnun Sabo brought a kosher Sefer Torah to that Beis HaKvoros. You see that the Zohar HaKodosh is Rab Shimon Leshitose and the Rambam in the Yad HaChazoko that even a Chosev Yatir is possible. So why does the Ramo make an nafkemin between Chosev Yatir and a Psal Gumor? If the Beis Menucha wants to say a Moered Kechidish, the Gemara says in Kedushin, if you medagdek, anan lo bekiyim bechaseiros veYeseros. We are not boki, which letter gets a vav or not. Is mashva from there that we are boki in the teves, which are not chosev yatir. So if the word mezuzos comes with a vav, we're not sure. Memelo, if you find a psul that you cannot point with your finger that this is a vaida psul, you cannot take a Sefer Torah out. It's like a sveiko. Sofik, if this is a chosev yatir, that is possible. Sofik, if the locho is like the Rambam in the Yad HaChazoko and the Rosh, or like the Rambam in the Perador and the Ran and Bnei Yoina. So midin sveiko, the Ramo says we only take a Sefer Torah out if the psul is a psul gomer, but not if it's a psul in chosev yatir, which is not a psul gomer. The Noida v'Yehudo, the Orechaim Tshuva Yud Beis Chelik Tinyono, he says why we not pastel a Sefer Torah because of psul of chosev yatir. she'ein to'eles behoitzoa Sefer Torah acher. You're not gaining anything by taking a second Sefer Torah with the psul of Chos V'Yatir, because korov hadover sheberoiv hasforim yesh toz b'Chos V'Yatir. It's very possible that the second Sefer Torah is also possible mishum Chos V'Yatir. Lefi she'ein onu bekiyim bozeh. We are not boki Chos V'Yatir, like we just mentioned before, b'shem de Gemara, b'shem de Rashba. And there is another tshuvas noida beYehuda in Orech Chaim Simen Kuftes. If you are allowed to bring a Sefer Torah to Beis HaKvoros to be mispalel, he says, Ein nochon leilech lebeis hakvoros im Sefer Torah beyodo. You should not bring a Sefer Torah to a Beis HaKvoros. Ki eifo ayeh etzleinu Sefer Torah sheyehe boduk v'chaseiros v'yeseiros. Where you're going to find a Sefer Torah which is boduk bizmanenu of Chos V'Yatir. And like the Zohar HaKodesh says, it's a sakonos nefoshos for the neshama in the Beis HaKvoros. And you won't be able to be poisoned in the neshama unless you bring a kosher Sefer Torah. So you see clear from the Noida beYehuda that Chaseiros v'Yeseiros, all the Sefer Torah are the same, all possible. Memelo, when the Ramos says, we do not pass a Sefer Torah because of psul Chos V'Yatir, is very simple. Because this Sefer Torah is just as Sophic like the next Sefer Torah. In the Emes LeYankov, the Mechaber from the Kav HaChaim, he is machmir in one point. He wants to say that not every Chos V'Yatir is a Sophic. We have Mesoiras on a certain Chaseres v'Yeseiros that Chazal darshan droshos out of the extra letters or the missing letters. Like Basukas, Basukois, Mezuzas, Mezuzois, Toitofois, Toitfas. So in such a Chos V'Yatir that we have a droshos Chazal and we are boking them, if it's a psul in the Kriya, it's considered a psul Gomer, even though it's only a psul on Chos V'Yatir. Because of that we have Bekiyas. But any other psul that we do not have a drosha, mefurish and chazal, is considered a sophic psul, and we do not marzir a Sefer Torah. Even if you find a toz, you can lay in baite. That's the pshora from the Emes LeYankov from the Bal Kav HaChaim. The Komarno wants to be machmir in his pirish to the Torah and the Akdomo, in the pirish of the Mesoira. He wants to say the only time that you find a psul Chos V'Yatir, you're allowed to lay in baite, and the Sefer Torah is still kosher, is if there is a machloikes a Mesoiras, whether that letter is supposed to be mole or choser. But if there is no machloikes in the Mesoiras, we take on that in that word the Chos V'Yatir is like vadai, and you're supposed to take a different Sefer Torah. According to the Komarno, every time you find a psul in a Chos V'Yatir, you have to run to see if the Mesoira brings a machloikes a poiskim. If there's a machloikes and Mesoiras, whether that vav is supposed to be there, then you can learn weiter. Yeshar milismach. If there is no machloikes, then we take it like is a vadai posel. So the Komarno is machmir more than the Kav HaChaim, the Emes LeYankov, and the Emes LeYankov is more machmir than the Ramo, but the minik is like the Ramo to learn in a Sefer Torah, even you find a psul gomer, if the psul is only on Chos V'Yatir. There is a Kabbalah from Rab Aryeh Leib Av Beis in Amsterdam, that even if you find an extra word in the Sefer Torah, you are allowed to skip that word and continue learning. But if you find a letter or there are word missing that you won't be able to read that Sefer Torah, then you are allowed to take a different Sefer Torah, because ein koirem balpeh. You are reading a missing word balpeh. The Maharal mi Prague, Merat HaKonoim, his Beis Medrash in the city of Prague, that you never take a Sefer Torah in the middle of the Kriya, even if you find a psul gomer, even if you're missing a word. Here's the biggest kula in the Berhetiv and Simen Kuf Mem Gimel Sif Tes, brings down that Maral mi Prague. In Shalish and Chuvas Betzela Chochmo from Rabbi Tzalel Stern, Simen Yudalet, brings a shaile, what's the alocho if you find a psul in a Sefer Torah the first time they're learning the Sefer Torah on Shabbos? They took out the Sefer Torah with a big simcha, and they find a psul in the middle of the Kriya of the first Shabbos. Should we learn weit in that Sefer Torah, or should we say a Sefer Torah posel, a psul gomer? You take out a different Sefer Torah. And he brings down machloikes apoiskim. Someone who say, just like by a chosun, ein roim negoim lechosun b'yom chuposoy. If a chosun has a nega tzoraz, he's not allowed to live with his wife for 7 days. until the nega becomes misrape. What happens if we find a nega tzoras in the day of the chuppah? The Mishnah says, Ein roin lenegoin lechosun b'yom chuppah. You're not supposed to pass the chosun and make him be mevuyesh. So the kohen is not to even look at the nega because you don't want to pass the chosun. So they want to say the same thing over here. The Yom Chuppah, the day that we bring the Sefer Torah to lane the first time, that's called Yom HaChuppah. And you're not supposed to pass such a Sefer Torah. And it brings down Cholkim, that they want to say that is, if the Chosun did not show the nega to a Kohen, and the Kohen didn't pasken, then the Chosun is still kosher. But once the Kohen pasken that he's a nega tzoras, if the chosun is a nega tzoras, and he's not allowed to go to the chasana. Same thing over here. If the tzibur did not know about this psul, this is a Torah kosher. But if you find the psul in the middle of the kriyas Torah, you know there's a psul gomur. How can you invite it? Or they say no, you are allowed to invite it. La locha, he wants to say to make a nafkemino. If the minig is mokum shenohogu shebiyoyim chinucho shel sefer Torah, even if you find a psul gomur, you are goimer the kriya and you not mimavayish sefer Torah and the bala sefer. Yesh al milismach. If the minig was already in his kayim, that even if you find a psul gomur, you take out the sefer Torah, then you continue that minig. Hakol tolui b'minig. That's what the Betzela Chochma brings down in Tshuva Yudalit. The Chorah is very hard to understand. What kind of minig is this? If it's a psul gomer, what's an afkemina b'yom chinuchoi? Or any time that you learn, if you find a psul gomer, you take out the Sefer Torah, or you never take a Sefer Torah. Are you noeg like the Maral Miprak that you always learn in the Sefer Torah even if you find a psul gomer? Or you noeg like the Shulchan Aruch and the Ramah that you find a psul gomer, you stop the kriyas Torah and you continue in a different Sefer Torah, like the Maribe Rav makes a pshora. So what is the psak in the Betzela Chochma that you make a pshora tolo in the minig? Not only that, but the Chasam Soifer in Yordei Asim Resh Pei Bez, he brings down that if you start writing a yeriyah for a Sefer Torah, even if you do not continue the Sefer Torah, the yeriyah has Kedusha Sefer Torah. So what is the gather over here? The Gemara says in Masechta Kedushin that we mentioned before that Vov the Gochon is the center of the Mispar Oisus in the Sefer Torah. And the Gemara asks the Kasha, Mehai Giso or Mehai Giso, which means, is mashma from the Gemara's Kasha that we know we have a Mesoira that the Mispar Oisius are Oisius Shovois, even number. And the Pnei Yeshua brings down in Kedushin over there, Yisrael Rosh Tevas Yesh Shishim Ribui Oisius La Torah. That's 600,000 Oisius La Torah. Even though we have only 300,000 Oisius La Torah, but we know that the Mesoira is an even number. So if there's an even number, we can ask Mehai Giso, Mehai Giso. The problem is that if we would have a Sefer Torah with a non-even number, with an odd number, according to this, the Sefer Torah would be possible. We have today in our Mesoira 304,805, which means non-even number. Even the Meiri has a different number, 301,591, also a non-even number. So our Mesoira and the Gemara clash. Not only that, but if we count the Oisius in the Sefer Torah, we find the Vov the Gochon is not in the center. Is a couple thousand letters away from the center. Is exactly 4,831 Oisius away from the center. Which means there are 4,831 extra letters in the Torah, at least, to one side. And that corresponds very well to the Gemara in Kedusha that we said, that Rabbi Yosef said, Anan lobikim bechaseres veyeseres. And the Rashba says, Manoimar anan abasrayu. And like the Noida Beyud says, that bisman hazeh, we don't have a Sefer Torah that should be with all the chaseres veyeseres. And until the Kohen Gadol will be oimed bet urim vetumim in the Beis Hamikdash and be machzir the Mesoira, we are not going to have a kosher Sefer Torah according to the Mesoira. In Cain, what is the heter? To find a psul in the Sefer Torah and to take that Sefer Torah away to take the second one. The Choira, the psak of the Maral Miprag, is very understandable. Now we have to understand why does the Ramah paskens that you are allowed to take a Sefer Torah out. For that we have to say a Chiddush. Since in the times when the Mesoira was Vadai, we took a Sefer Torah out, even of Chosev Yatir, because then it was considered a psul gomer. Therefore, bisman hazeh, we take out the Sefer Torah out when we find a psul gomer against our Mesoira, even though the next Sefer Torah is not going to be 100%. But since the minik is to take out Sefer Torah, kedei not to mevatel that minik, so we still take out Sefer Torah. We have a heter to be matir to take the Sefer Torah away and change it. The Maral Miprag was not soymech on that heter. So actually the Maral Miprag is a machmir, and we are the makilim. Memelo in Achnosus Sefer Torah, when the minig was not nikba yet, what is the halacha with a new Sefer Torah if you find a psul gomer? Then it's very clear, like the Betzela Chochma says, that if there's no minig kavua yet, you are allowed to lein weiter in that Sefer Torah even if you have a psul gomer. Why? Because bisman hazeh there is no Sefer Torah becheskas vade kosher. It's only a minig not to learn a Sefer Torah that you have a psul gomer. Since that minig goes noyek only in a kriya kesidron, memelo in stam kriya you are allowed to take a Sefer Torah out. But in a chnosa Sefer Torah there was not nikva yet a minig to be mevayish the Sefer Torah and take the second Sefer Torah, even though the second Sefer Torah is also possible because we're not boking chos v'yater. So he wants to tie that you're allowed to be soymech, or the machmir rather, like the Maral Miprag, and laying in a Sefer Torah that you find a psul b'shas the first kriyas Torah, and not to be mevayish the Sefer Torah and take the second Sefer Torah b'shas kriyas Torah. And I know for a Maaseh shehoyo recently, when the Sefer Torah was taken out for kriyas Torah in Rosh Chodesh, and they found written as akeves, twice the word akeves, and they took away the Sefer Torah, and there was a big tumult. Next day I told the Bala Sefer, you should look in the Betzela Chochma, you're going to see it's not so simple to take the Sefer Torah away and not to be mevayish. They rechecked the Sefer Torah with the computer and they did not find any other psul but that psul. What happened was probably that the computer did find the psul and the Sefer by mistake forgot to fix that. But according to the Tzela Chochma, there is no Chochma. You are allowed to learn the dat Sefer Torah, and you're not allowed to be mebayish the Sefer Torah and the Bala Sefer Torah and the Tziver, Tirchat Tzibura, and not bring a raya. What happens if somebody takes a Sefer Torah to learn Parsha Zohar, which is a Kriya Deraisa, and after the Kriya you find in Mincha they took out the same Sefer Torah and they found a psul gomer? Are you mechuyev to learn again in that Sefer Torah? Sicher nicht. The same thing, if you find a psul gomer in Shishi, you don't have to learn the whole parsha, because we say the kriya was oile, even though the psul is a psul gomer. We are noyek today, even in a psul gomer, not to pass it until you find the psul. Mikam be'elech. So why is the reason that we do take a Sefer Torah out? Kedei, to make sure that Sefer Torah should be mesaken after Shabbos, and we put the gartel outside to show that this Sefer Torah is possible, not to be moisif to uyos in our Sefer Torahs, in our Mesorah. And this is a Yesoid Godel in our Mesorah, that we are noyek today, keilu we have the Mesorah, we're not going to be moisif to uyos to our to uyos. And the Sefer Torah, we are noyek, keilu has kedusha Sefer Torah gomer, and like the Rambam says in Peirador, that you koyren bo betzibur. There are some who want to tie that bisman hazeh, that we don't have bekiyos in chos v'yater, the kesiva Sefer Torah is only a mitzvah miderabonon. Milot tishkach, we shouldn't forget our Torah, so we write Sefer Torah. The Choira, this is the Sforos from the Shagas Aryeh, Ayin Shevet Alevi, Chelek Beis, Kuv Lamed Gimel. The Minchas Chinuch was margish the Kushias Shagas Aryeh, that we are not bokir b'chos v'yater, and it came to a moiridik chidush. He wants to say that two types of chos v'yater. There's a chos v'yater which is me'akev, and chos v'yater which is not me'akev. The chos v'yater which is me'akev is a chos v'yater that Chazal darshans. A chos v'yater which is not me'akev is a chos v'yater that Chazal darshan not. We are boki in chases v'yiseres that Chazal darshans, that's me'akev. And we are not boki in chaseres v'yiseres that Chazal darshan, and that's not me'akev. Memelo, our Sefer Torah are kodosh, kedusha Sefer Torah with no sofik. That's what the Minchas Chinuch was notaina. So when the Gemara says we're not boki in chos v'yater, means we're not boki in chos v'yater to count Vov the Kochen, but we are boki in chos v'yater that Chazal darshans and is leikuva. The Shevet Alevi brings down that this whole taina from the Minchas Chinuch is a hashora be'alma, and he himself was margish in the groise machloikes rishonim Rashi and Toisus and Sanhedrin the Abdallah Med Beis how to write the word toitofos. Rashi says in Behoy Kivyachos is tatvas. We have toitfas. In Behoyim Shemoya, Rashi says is toitofos. We have tatvas like Rabbeinu Tam. By the Matnos Mizbeach, the Gemara Dashans from the word of Karnos, we don't have that word. We have Karnas. The Gemara Dashans Vehanoise is Choser Vov. We have Noise with a Vov. So we see that our Mesorah and the Mesorah's Chazal, the Droshes Chazal, do have a stira. And Rabbi Akiva Eger in Shabbos, Nun Heyomet Beis, brings down a long list where Mesoira argues and is choilek with Shas. In Minchas Shai brings down kemat in every sedre, a pluktas, a poiskim, in Sforim, in Mesoiras of Choseres veYeseres. So we are not boki in Chose veYater. Loide Minchas Chinuch comes out also a big problem. But the Gemara says in Masechta Menachos that you don't have to write a whole entire Sefer Torah. You can write one letter, Magia bo ois achas keilo kablo mishinai. According to the Minchas Chinuch, will be an afkimino, which ois achas. If that ois is a Chose veYater that you darshan, or ois achas that you don't darshan. And the Gemara makes no nafkimino. That is one of the tiniest of Shevet HaLevi over there. Rav Moshe Feinstein, in Igros Moshe Yerdei Chelik Aleph, Simen Kuf Samech Gimel, brings down that loy de Minchas Chinuch sifrei Torah shelonu vadai pesulim heim, because our Mesoira is a Mesoira meshubeshes neget Shas, Bavli, Yerushalmi, Medrash, Zohar, and everything. And that's the reason why many Gedoylei Torah, Gedoylei Yisrael were not makpid to write a Sefer Torah, but they were yoytze the mitzvah, like the Shitas HaRosh and the Tur and the Shach, with Ksivas Chidusha Torah or the Kinyan Sforim Bilvat, like Gemores and Midrashim. Only Yechidim were choishesh for this shita that Bizman Hazeh is shaykh to write a Sefer Torah, because our Sefer Torahs would not be kosher according to the Bavli, Yerushalmi, and Medrash. We don't have the Mesoira. And Meilo, the Maise with the Shinaverov, when he was Machmir to pass the Sefer Torah of the Baal Shem Tov, and it was Absul the Mafreya, he was right. That's a Loch and Shulchan Aruch. But then when he was Me'ayin, and he saw that it's not so simple to pass the Sefer Torah, and the minik in Prague is not to pass the Sefer Torah, and it's only a minik, then he was choizer from his psak, Ve'adtem at veikim b'Hashem Elokeichem chaim kulchem ayoim, which should be zoiche to the Mesoiras HaTorah b'mheiro b'yameinu amen. It's an interesting story by Rav Moshe Feinstein Zichrono Livrocha, that the Bal Koire found a mistake in one of the oisias. Rav Moshe went up and saw, and there was a psul, was a ois nishbar, and they took the Sefer Torah down. A few minutes later, the Bal Koire found in the second Sefer Torah psul. Rav Moshe went up, looked at that psul, and he switched the Sefer Torah, but this time he switched the Bal Koire also. Because man, we don't find a psul, the Sefer Torah has a cheskas kashrus. There's no mitzvah to look and find psulim. I once heard B'Shem, one of the Gedolei Yisrael in the Friedrich Kedor, that if you look for psulim, you'll ziche find. There's another story about the Belzerov Zichron Levrocha. They found a Sofik psul in a ois in the Sefer Torah Shabbos, and the only eitzah is to ask a tinuk, and they asked the tinuk, and the tinuk was koire the way it's supposed to be, and the Sefer Torah did not become possible, and the Belzerov gave him a brocha, lang zosti leben, and this person lived to be over 100 years. Many Rabbonim, when came a Sofik in the Sefer Torah, B'shas Kriyas HaTorah, they would run out of the Beis Medrash. They would not like to pass on shilas. It's not so simple to passel a Sefer Torah. L'al pi halacha is better not to passel than to passel. Ve'atem at veikim Hashem Elokeichem chaim kulchem hayom.